Welcome, friends. This is my newest album. It's called Haunted Places and Creepy Spaces, and it's a big one. I put it on 2-inch rings. It's a chipboard cover. It's 9 inches tall and about 6.5 inches wide. And I've got this metal door knocker, some little metal touches on the cover here and here. Welcome, foolish mortals. And it's layered with cheesecloth, papers, some sheet music, and of course this door. And here's the chunkiness of it. On the back side is a pocket from vintage sheet music, and in the pocket is a cemetery angel photo. My boyfriend took that one. And this old vintage spooky looking house photo backed on haunted house paper here. I'm going to get into this quickly because it's kind of a long video because I have lots of ghosty stories to tell you. So here we go. I'm going to put this headstone under here to hold that front page up until I get into it more. Okay. The first one we're going to look at is from my own hometown, San Diego. And we have here in town the Whaley House, America's most haunted house. And it's in our old town, which is the seat of our growing city. And here's a picture of it today in Greek Revival brick style. And it has guided tours, paranormal experiences and such, ghosts and graveyard tours. And basically in 1857, Thomas and Anna Whaley built this home in the center of the new town of San Diego. Unfortunately, the property they built it on was the site of a public hanging, the hanging of the thief Yankee Jim Robinson. And so from the start, the Whaleys heard these heavy footsteps, eerie noises, and saw footprints inside the house, and they all were attributed to Yankee Jim. Tragedy fell on our family, and first their 18-month-old son Thomas, who's right here, died in the house of scarlet fever, and then next a fire destroyed their general store. They left the house and they moved up to San Francisco. Years later, they moved back into the house with their other children, and more tragedy struck. Violet, their youngest daughter, was married in the house, and she soon found out he was a con artist who only married her for the Whaley family fortune. It ended quickly in divorce, and she was so distraught that she ran out into the outhouse in the backyard and shot herself. Here's a picture of Violet. They brought her into the house and put her in the parlor, and she died in the parlor there. Anna Whaley and her son Francis and the daughter Corinne all lived in that house until their deaths in the early 1900s. And this is a picture of one of the daughters, Lillian, in 1945 as an older lady standing on the front door steps. And here's their son Frank, and it was so run down by the turn of the century. It stood vacant for so long because they moved away, most of the family members. So he operated it as a tourist attraction, which is what it is today. Here's some more family pictures. Lillian with her mother, Anna Whaley. Here's Violet again. And this is Anna Whaley and her first great-grandchild around 1907. And some of the haunted rooms in the house this is the parlor where Violet died. And again right here. And another view of it. And this is one of the upstairs bedrooms. Another famous haunted house, of course, is Transylvania Castle Dracula. Now, here we go with another one of my favorites. the Bates Motel, where there's always a vacancy because you know they're waiting for you. Secretary Marion Crane is on the run after stealing $40,000 from her employer in order to run away with her boyfriend. So she's overcome by exhaustion during a heavy rainstorm, and she traveled the back roads to avoid the police, and she stopped the night at the Bates Motel and meets the strange proprietor Norman Bates, a young man with an interest in taxidermy and a difficult relationship with his mother. We all know what happened. So here's Marion Crane. She's missing. And here's an ad from the local paper. Come stay at the Bates Motel. Have a nice and quiet time off the road. This is a postcard. Greetings from the motel, Bates Motel. Dear guest, Mother and I have reserved cabin number 1 for your arrival. Check in, unpack, relax, take a shower. And here's another postcard from the Bates Motel. A boy's best friend is his mother. And we all know his penchant for taxidermy. So here's his birds he keeps talking about, and his owl. And what every good hotel room has is personal stationery. Here's the Bates Motel. Hot showers and a warm welcome. We'll treat you like family. Another one of my favorite movies, The House on Haunted Hill. Millionaire Frederick Loren and his wife Annabelle have invited 5 strangers to the house on Haunted Hill for a haunted house party. Whoever stays in the house for one night will earn $10,000 each. As the night progresses, all the guests are trapped inside the house with ghosts, murderers, and other terrors. And over here we have Vincent Price looking very spooky as he does. And ooh, the little skeleton. Spooky. Ooh, I squished him. Little skeleton. One of the guests being scared. This is Annabelle. In the end, devious Annabelle gets what's coming to her. On this page, this is a cute little pocket, and it's made by Shop Moon Steam Studio, and it's the Haunted House Loaded Pocket, and it's got all sorts of cute little goodies inside here. There's a ghost and a magical label and just some goodies, and there's the haunted house in the background here, and this is part of it, and so is this key. And a little later in the book I have another one I'll show you, but I love this. Now, the Overlook Hotel. Because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Here's a postcard from the Overlook Hotel. Jack Torrance becomes the winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, and he's hoping to cure his writer's block. So he settles in along with his wife Wendy and his son Danny, who is plagued by psychic premonitions. Jack spends his days writing away at his old typewriter. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac who terrorizes his family. And here are the 2 little ghost sisters that Danny sees all throughout the hotel. And they always say, "Come play with us, Danny, forever and ever. Never go in room 237. Stay away from it, Danny." Come play with us. I have a very talented friend named Ramona, and her artist name is Winona Cookie. And for, gosh, 10 years or more, she makes me Halloween cards, birthday cards, Christmas cards, etc. And I've had this card for at least 10 years. And of course it says Red Drums, so I've got to use it in this book. And she makes fantastic collage work. There's a postcard of the Overlook Hotel in winter, where Wendy put Danny out the window to run away and hide in the big hedge maze after Daddy went berserk. Here is the maze that they outwitted Jack in as he was chasing them, and where he sat down and froze to death and ended up as the eternal caretaker along with all these people in 1921. This was the big party from back then. And this view of the Overlook is different. This is the book's version of the Overlook Hotel. And the maze wasn't a maze, it was topiary animals. So that's the book version of it. And again, here's some hotel stationery. We can't do a haunted book without doing our friend Edgar Allan Poe. This is my favorite poem by Edgar Allan Poe, Annabel Lee, and In Her Tomb by the Sounding Sea. And here's another photograph my boyfriend took of an angel in a graveyard up near San Francisco. The Fall of the House of Usher. This is a short story about the narrator's visit to a strange mansion owned by his childhood friend Roderick. He is descending into madness, and his twin sister Madeline dwells within the melancholy atmosphere with him in this house. And the house feeds on the energy of the siblings. Madeline seemingly dies and they bury her in the crypt. However, she was buried alive and she escapes from her coffin and comes after Roderick. They both collapse dead and the house also dies, crumbling to the ground. At one point in the story, the narrator tries to help Roderick get his mind off all the death and gloom by reading him a poem called The Haunted Palace. So here's the Haunted Palace here. Here's Edgar. And here is the poem, The Haunted Palace, which is all typed out and ready to read. Tim Holtz paper dolls are great, and I always find one that looks like whatever it is I'm making my journal about, and I just thought he looked kind of like Edgar. This page is, one of about 10 different ones that I have bought from Pink Monarch Prints. She does Halloween super simple kits, and this is number 8, the Haunted House kit. And all these pockets have neat little haunted houses in them. All these fun things. Floor plans. More haunted houses. There's windows. So there's these that go in the pockets. And then here's the background of it. And it comes with a little folder you can pull out with another haunted palace on the front. And it's got journaling space inside. So I'll put those away later. Our next visit is to the Borden house. 1892, Fall River, Massachusetts. Lizzie Borden. Do we all know the poem? Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. So Lizzie was born in 1860, and she was tried in court for the axe murders of her stepmother, Abby Borden, and her father, Andrew Borden. And although she was the only other person in the house at the time, except for the housemaid, she was acquitted. No other person was accused, and she remains infamous for the murders. And the murders occurred on August 4th, 1892 in Fall River, Massachusetts. And I thought this Tim Holtz doll looked exactly like her. Here is an actual first issue envelope from Fall Rivers, Massachusetts. It's the 100th anniversary. You can see August 4th, 1992, so 100 years from the murders. And here's the stamp of it. And Fall River legend. And she took an axe. So I thought this was pretty cool. This is an actual newspaper article from 1949. They found, they found an axe hidden in the chimney recesses at the house of Lizzie Borden, and the police had been hoaxed by a hammer found in a nearby barn years ago. But when they discovered this axe, they decided to have the chemist check for blood stains. Here's Lizzie's actual home right here. After the murder, she and her sister did buy another home in the same town, but just they didn't live there anymore. It's now a bed and breakfast, so if you wanted to go stay there, you could. I won't go near it. This is a drawing from her trial. And this is Lizzie Borden Not Guilty, the cover of Police News. And just a little magazine article about Lizzie. Here's a picture of her when she was young. And this is her gravestone, where she's buried. Here's another one of the Shot Moon Steam Studio Haunted Loaded Pockets. And again, there's just all kinds of little goodies in here. Oh, a little raven. Of course, I had to put the ghost out on the edge. It's a cute house. Our next visit is to the Hotel California. Now, the Hotel California song by the Eagles is one of my favorite songs from 1977, but the vague lyrics have been interpreted many different ways, and I chose to use the spookier side of the lyrics to make up my own version of what it means. So, welcome to the Hotel California. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim, and I had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway. She lit up a candle and she showed me the way. Condemned. Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely face. The last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. Now, the last stop we're making today is also in California here. It's called the Winchester Mystery House. Now, in 1862, Sarah Winchester married her husband William, the millionaire owner of the Winchester Rifle Company. And in 1866, she gave birth to a daughter who died at 1 month of age. In 1881, William died, and Sarah became the heir to the Winchester fortune. And at age 46, in 1885, she moved to San Jose, California, and bought a farmhouse. Now, the legend is that Sarah went to a psychic and was told that her house was haunted by the ghosts of all the Indians killed by the Winchester rifle and those killed in the Civil War. She was told to build and expand the farmhouse and not stop or she would die. The legend also says that she built stairs that lead to the ceiling or a blank wall, second floor doors that open onto the outside, windows in the floors, all to confuse the ghosts. So here's what it looks like now. Here's the brochure. This was a huge, big property, and most of it's been sold off. It used to be probably, like that. And this is all of the house that's left because in 1906, there was the big San Francisco earthquake. And here's some earthquake damage here. But let me show you this picture here. This was part of the house before the earthquake. This 7-story tower in the back and most of the chimneys all over collapsed. And one entire wing was destroyed along with the 3rd and 4th story additions. And Sarah herself was trapped in the bedroom for hours before she was found. And at the largest, the house was approximately 500 rooms and it's now down to 160 rooms. So that was before. And this is what it looks like today, just the front entrance here. This is Sarah Winchester, the last picture known taken of her. And here's just some facts about Sarah. And her graveyard, or her gravestone is here. She continued to build this house over 38 years, and today what's left is 24,000 square feet, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 47 stairways and fireplaces, 17 chimneys, 6 kitchens, and 160 rooms left. She was very fond of the number 13. All through the house, you'll find examples such as 13 ceiling panels in the entryway, 13 windows in the 13th bathroom, 13 hooks in the seance room, 13 drain holes in the sink, 13 parts to her will, which she signed 13 times. There's the 13th bathroom is accessible by 13 stairs, and so on and so on and so on. It's a house of 13, so that's why this tab has got a 13 on it. Now, she loved to do the building herself. She planned most of it. She wasn't an architect, and the reason the house is so haphazard is because she'd have all these great ideas in her head, and she'd start it, realize it wasn't going anywhere, and she'd abandon that, and then she'd start building in another part of the house. She just collected beautiful, beautiful things like these stained glass windows. These are spider web themed. Here's a doorway that opens up into the outside, and you fall, 2 floors down outside. Here's a staircase that leads to the ceiling. Nothing there. And here is a window in the floor. So they said that she did this to confuse the ghosts. But the truth is, when the earthquake hit, she lost so many rooms and she couldn't afford to, build them back up again. So she closed off those rooms that fell apart. So this door that leads out into the middle of nothing probably had a nice big balcony there. And it didn't go straight down. The same with the stairs. It probably went up to the next floor, which fell during the earthquake, and so they just blocked it off. So there's a little bit of hanky-panky in the stories to this house. Finally, like I said, she loved architecture, she and her husband, and she planned a lot of this stuff herself. So I made this, I just imagined this to be like her personal notebook wish list kind of thing. So I've just put in some samples of things that might have been available to order at the time that she was building the house. Different hardware and furniture, light fixtures, doorknobs, some fabric swatches for curtains or chairs, some vintage receipts here, the roofing and supply company, and appliance company here. So she's keeping all of her receipts in this book. She has a beautiful garden, so she was planning that as well. And here's just some more swatches for, either upholstery or curtains, whatever. She's got paint samples. She's got wallpaper samples here. She kept all her freight tags from things that were freighted over to the house. Chairs, dressers, desks, cabinets, big chairs, and a page for notes in her notebook. And I hope you enjoyed this little view of some haunted places and creepy spaces. And we'll see you again. I might be able to get one more Halloween journal out before Halloween, but we'll see. See you next time.